Assalamu alaikum, students. Shall we start? Okay, in today's anatomy class, we'll discuss the external features of the heart. External features of the heart. We have seen in the first class, we have studied about the mediastinum and where is the heart present. In the second lecture, we discuss about the coverings of the heart, that is the pericardium, which has two parts. One is the fibrous pericardium outside and inner is the serous pericardium. Again, the serous pericardium has two layers, the external, that is the parietal layer, and the inside we have the visceral layer, which are continuous with each other. Today we'll go to the external features of the heart, more details of the external features. So in this, the specific objectives are describe the external anatomical features of the heart with regards to its position, shape, size, surfaces, borders, and grooves. And second is describe the chambers and septa of the heart. Okay. Coming to the heart, as you know, the heart is a very important component of the cardiovascular system. It is a hollow, somewhat conical muscular organ. As we know, this is hollow because it has many chambers where the blood will be filled, and it is muscular. Mainly it is muscular, which is made up of the myometrium, a special kind of muscle which is called as the myometrium. Okay, so this is a hollow conical muscular organ situated, as we know, in the middle mediastinum along with its covering, that is the pericardium. And as I said, it is covered by the pericardium. Now if you want to know the size of your own heart, just close your hand, make it as a fist, clenched fist. So that will be the size of your heart, and keep it on the left side of your chest, then it becomes the size of your heart. So if you want to imagine the size of your heart, it will be almost the size of your clenched fist. If you close your fingers and then see the hand and put it on the chest, that will be the size of the heart. So the size of the heart will be almost the size of the clenched fist. And it consists of four chambers. As we know, there are two atria and two ventricles. So if you see here, these two on the top, these are called as the atria, and two ventricles, the right and left. Right atrium, the left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. And these are divided into atria and ventricle, are separated by interatrium. Especially the atria are separated by interatrial septum. Inter means in between. Interatria means between the atria there is a septum. So this is called as interatrial septum. If you imagine, see here, two atria and between is the interatrial septum. Similarly, the ventricles are separated by a more thicker structure called an interventricular septum. So between the two ventricles, there is thicker part. This is called as the interventricular septum. This is the interventricular septum which separates the two ventricles. The right heart deals with the deoxygenated blood. This part of the heart, mainly because all the blood, venous blood, is coming from the superior vena cava as well as inferior vena cava, will be drained into the right atrium, and it is from there it is pushed to the right ventricle. From there it goes.
Doctor, the slide is not moving.
Pardon?
The slide is not moving. It's still in the first slide.
Yeah. We are talking about the first slide.
Okay.
Okay, the heart. Okay. So I'm showing you. Can you see the arrow? Can you see the arrow?
Can you move it again?
Yeah, I'm moving this arrow. Can you see the arrow?
No.
No?
Yes.
Okay. So the ventricles are separated by the interventricular, and the atria are separated by interatrial septum. Okay, and the right side of the heart will be dealing with the oxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood, that is the impure blood, which is coming from all the parts of the body, and from there it goes to lungs, and the purified oxygenated blood will come to the left ventricle, the left atrium, and from there to the left ventricle. So the right side of the heart will be dealing with the deoxygenated blood or impure blood, and the left side of the heart will be dealing with the oxygenated or pure blood. Now we are moving to the next slide. So here, now coming to the presenting parts. Can you see the slide now? The second slide, presenting parts.
No,
No,
doctor.
no.
Huh?
It's still in
First slide, the main slide.
Main slide.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me get out and then again let me. Now, can you see the changes?
Yes, now it's working.
Okay, good. Okay, going to the presenting parts. So this was what we are discussing here in the first slide. Okay, now we are going to the second slide. Now coming to the presenting parts. Now the mouse is moving. Can you see the mouse now moving?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, coming to the presenting parts, we have an apex here. The heart has an apex. It looks like a conical shape or pyramid shape. So it has an apex, which is in the front here. So here is the apex. So usually the apex will be on the top, but for the heart, it is in the front here. So in this X-ray, if you see, it will be here. So this will be the position, fifth intercostal space. So this is the apex. Just opposite to that is the base. Base is behind, not below. So base is behind. The posterior surface of the heart is the base. Okay, so remember this, apex is in the front and the base is behind. And this surface is called as the diaphragmatic surface. This is not the base, but it is called as diaphragmatic surface. The surface on which the heart will be sitting on the diaphragm. Here will be the diaphragmatic surface. So it has an apex, a base just opposite to the apex, and there are four surfaces. One is the sternocostal surface, the front surface, which will be in contact with the sternum. That will be called a sternocostal surface. Then we have the below, as I said, this is the diaphragmatic surface. Then we have the right and left surfaces. These are called as pulmonary surfaces. Right and left pulmonary surfaces. Four surfaces. It has an apex, base, and four surfaces. One is in the front, that is called a sternocostal surface. Then we have the diaphragmatic surface, right and left pulmonary surface. And there are three borders. One is the right border here. Then we have the inferior border, then the left border. There will be three borders, right, inferior, and the left border. Measurements, if you measure from the apex to the base, it will be almost 12 centimeters. Average in an adult human being, it will be almost this. Yeah. So from the apex to the base, it will be almost 12 centimeters. But if you take the anterior posterior diameter from the sternocostal surface, which will be almost in the middle, to the base, it will be almost 6 centimeters. Okay, and the transverse diameter from here to here is almost 8 to 9 centimeters. This is very important, especially in case of cardiomegaly. If you see this X-ray, the heart size should be almost 1/3 to half of the total thoracic diameter of the total from this side of the ribs to this side of the rib. If you take the total diameter, the heart should be less than half of the total diameter. If it is more than half of the diameter, if it will be a very big heart, then you can easily, just by X-ray, you can identify is there any cardiomegaly. So the normal size of the heart will be 1/3, or most maximally it will be half of the total thoracic diameter. Okay, if it is more than that, then we can call it as the cardiomegaly. Normally, in case of adult males, the weight of the heart will be almost 300 grams, and in females it will be slightly lower, it will be slightly smaller, and it will be almost 250 grams. Coming to the apex of the heart is mainly formed by the left ventricle. Very important thing you should remember. Again, this is clinically very important in case of the cardiac and arrest and other things when you give some particular injections. Okay, like adrenaline to start the heart once again. You should know the apex apex, as I said before, it will be in the 5th intercostal space. ICS means intercostal space, and 9 centimeters from the midline. So this is the site where you give direct injections sometimes in case of, as I said, cardiac arrest. So you should know that where, when you are putting the syringe directly into the heart, into the apex, you should know where it is going. So you should remember that it is, the apex is formed by the left ventricle. So if you push any drugs into the apex, it will be going into the left ventricle. It is rarely done, but when it is done, you should know where it is going. Okay. Coming to the base, as I said, it is the posterior surface, which is called as the base, not the inferior surface, posterior surface. Okay. So the base is the posterior surface, and it is the most fixed part, because of many structures here which are holding. Okay, these veins, all this will be holding it in its position, and it is almost quadrilateral in shape. Okay, and it is formed by the 2/3 of the left atrium and 1/3 of the right atrium. If you see here, this is the left atrium. Almost 2/3. This from here to here is the base. Okay, so this is the base. Almost 2/3 is occupied by the left atrium, and only because the right atrium is slightly elongated and more in the front, so the base is formed by 1/3 of the right atrium and almost 2/3 of the left atrium. So mainly occupied by the left atrium and slightly occupied by the right atrium. So this is the base, which is posterior surface. And how do you identify this? By the 6 veins. 6 veins. Which are those? One is here, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, which are opening into the right atrium. Then there are 4 pulmonary veins, right and left pulmonary veins, which are opening into the left atrium. So how do you identify left atrium? There will be 4 veins opening into the left atrium. Okay, and how do you identify the right atrium? There are superior and inferior vena cava, only 2 veins opening into the right atrium. So these 6 veins will be seen from behind, and they will be holding the and make it more fixed. And these 6 veins enclosed in serous pericardium in J shape, as you have seen. Here will be the J shape oblique sinus. Oblique sinus will be here. So this will be the site for the oblique sinus. The left atrium forms anterior boundary of the oblique pericardium, as I said, by pericardial sinus between the limbs of the J. Posterior relations of this base will be, one is the oblique sinus, because the oblique sinus is behind this left atrium, the base. Then behind that will be the fibrous pericardium. Then we have the pulmonary veins. So we have seen the pulmonary veins. Then there will be 2 bronchi. So behind that will be the trachea and dividing it into 2 bronchi. Then behind that will be the esophagus, aorta, thoracic duct, azygous vein. All this will be the posterior relations of the base. So as I said, base will be behind. Now coming to the right border of the heart. Right border of the heart. Where is the right border? This is called as the right border of the heart. So the right border is formed by, it is rounded, almost rounded and convex, and formed by mainly by the right atrium, mostly occupied by the right atrium. If you can see here, so this is the right atrium. So the right border is formed by the right atrium. Extend from where to where? So the right atrium as well as the right border extends from the superior vena cava, the end of superior vena cava, to the end of the inferior vena cava. So here is the superior vena cava and here is the inferior vena cava, and in between is this right border. Okay, as well as even the right atrium. So the right atrium will be between the superior and inferior vena cava. And separate base from the sternocostal surface by the sulcus terminalis. So it separates from the base. As we have seen, base is behind that. As we saw in the previous picture, base is here. So the right border will be here. So in the front will be the right atrium, and behind this is the base. So these are two are separated by here. This is the right border. Coming to the relations, there are 3 layers of the pericardium, as you know, the fibrous as well as the 2 layers of the serous pericardium. The right phrenic nerve will be in the running here beside that. Then the right the pericardio-phrenic vessels will be there. then the mediastinal pleura as well as the right lung, everything will be in relation to the right border. Now coming to the inferior border, here is the inferior border. So this is the inferior border, also called as the margo acutus. Okay, so this border is very sharp, as you can see when you see actually in the uh, mm, lab. You try to see especially this inferior border, which can be seen as a well demarcated sharp border, separate sternocostal surface from the diaphragmatic surface. Sternocostal surface is this surface which is in the front, which is in contact with the sternum. So this is called a sternocostal surface, and it is separated. This inferior border will separate the sternocostal surface from the inferior border. Inferior surface, that is the diaphragmatic surface. Okay, so on which the heart is sitting on the diaphragm. So that surface is separated by the sternocostal surface by this inferior border. This is the inferior border. So this is the inferior margin. Okay, the border. It extends from the inferior vena cava up to the apex of the heart. Now you can see here, this is the apex of the heart, mainly formed by the left ventricle. So this is the apex of the heart. Okay, then the marginal branches of the right coronary artery and vein. The branches of the right coronary artery as well as the vein. Okay, so the margins of the right, where is the right coronary artery? This is the right coronary artery coming here. Okay, and the vein will be also there. Okay, coming to the notch, there is a depression here that is called as the incisura apicis cardis. Near the apex of the heart, just behind the apex of the card, there is a notch. This is called an incisura apicis cardis, which will be for the passage of the interventricular branch of left coronary artery. If you see here, this is the anterior interventricular branch coming from the left coronary artery. Here is the right coronary artery. So this is the left coronary artery. So it will be giving a branch here. It will divide into circumflex as well as anterior interventricular branch. So this anteroventricular branch will go into this notch. Okay. So this is called as the incisura apicis cardis. Now coming to the third surface, we have seen the two surfaces. One is the posterior surface as well as the sternocostal surface, the apex as well as the the other surface. Now we are talking about the sternocostal surface. So here is this is the front surface. This is called as the sternocostal surface. So sternocostal surface, it is directed forwards, upwards, and separated from the base by the right border. Okay, so the base will be behind, and this is the sternocostal surface and separated by the right border. Okay, and it is separated from the diaphragmatic surface by the inferior border and left surface by the left border. And it is separated from the diaphragmatic border. Here is the diaphragmatic border on which the heart is sitting on the diaphragm. This is the diaphragm here. This is the muscle which is there. So that sternocostal surface is separated from the diaphragmatic surface by this is the inferior border. Okay. Now coming to the formation, the anterior surface of it is formed by the 2/3 by the right ventricle. This is the sternocostal surface or anterior surface, 2/3 by the right ventricle. This is the right ventricle here. So this large part will be occupied by this by the right ventricle, and 1/3, almost a small portion, by the right atrium, and a very small portion by the left ventricle. So the anterior surface or the sternocostal surface is formed by the right ventricle almost 2/3, and the anterior surface of the left ventricle 1/3. So left ventricle is here, the right ventricle is here. So right ventricle 2/3, left ventricle 1/3, and the right atrium a very small part. Left auricle of the right atrium and its auricle can be seen. Auricle means a small projection from the right atrium. This is the right atrium. So it has a projection called as ear-like structure. This is called as right auricle. Auricle means ear. Okay, so ear of the heart. So this is the right atrium, and the ear of the right atrium is this right auricle. So this right auricle, the part of the right atrium, mainly occupied by the right ventricle, and 1/3 by the left ventricle. These are all seen on the sternocostal surface. The anteroventricular groove lodges right coronary artery and crossed by the anterior cardiac vein. So there is a groove here, okay, between the right atrium and the ventricle. This is called as the the atrioventricular groove. This is called as the right atrioventricular groove, and it is lodged by the right coronary artery, as you can see here. So it is lodged by the right coronary artery and crossed by the anterior cardiac vein. There is also a vein here beside that. This is the anterior cardiac vein. So this is the atrioventricular groove because it is between the atrium and the ventricle. So this is called as the atrioventricular groove. Okay, the right atrioventricular groove, between which you can see, within this groove we can see the running of the right coronary artery as well as the anterior cardiac vein. Okay. Then coming to the relations, okay, anterior interventricular groove, not just anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery and the great cardiac vein. So in between here also, between the two ventricles, the right ventricle and the left ventricle, there is the interventricular, anterior interventricular. Interventricular, inter means between the two ventricles. This is atrioventricular because it is between the atrium and ventricle. This is the atrioventricular groove, and this is the interventricular because it is between the two ventricles, right ventricle and left ventricle. So here you can see, as we have already seen, there is an artery running. This is called as the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery, as well as you can also see the great cardiac vein running here. Okay, so these are the two structures and the two grooves which you can trace here in this place. Coming to the relations, as you know, the heart is covered by the pericardium, so this part is also covered by pericardium, and the main structure will be the sternum, the body of the sternum, which will be in contact of this sternocostal. That's why it is called a sterno, as well as costal, because there are 3rd to 6th costal cartilages beside that, okay, which are there. Then the pleura as well as the lungs also can be, a small part of it can project on this sternocostal surface. Now going to the third surface, that is the diaphragmatic surface, which is below. So on which the heart will be sitting on the diaphragm. Here below will be the diaphragmatic surface, formed by the 2/3 by the left ventricle and 1/3 by the right ventricle. If you see here, this is how it looks like, diaphragmatic surface. Almost 2/3. This is the posterior surface, that is the base. Now this is the inferior surface, also called as the diaphragmatic surface. 2/3 is occupied by the left ventricle and a very small part here. This is formed by the right ventricle. Okay, so the diaphragmatic surface or the inferior surface is flat because it is sitting on the diaphragm, and it is almost 2/3 occupied by the left ventricle, 1/3 by the right ventricle. Separated from the sternocostal surface by the inferior border. As we already seen, it is separated from the front anterior surface by this border, this is called as the inferior border, and base by the posterior part of the atrioventricular groove. So there is the base from the base. So this is the base here behind. So from the base, it is separated by the posterior interventricular, the atrioventricular groove. So this is the atria and this is the ventricle. So this groove is called as the atrioventricular groove. Okay, base from the posterior part by the atrioventricular groove. Now coming to some of the important grooves and their relations. The posterior interventricular groove lodges posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery, as well as the middle cardiac vein, and anastomosis of the interventricular branch of both the coronary arteries. Now if you see here, so this is called as the posterior interventricular because it is between the two ventricles, left ventricle and right ventricle. So this is called as the posterior interventricular groove, and not just the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery. So here is the right coronary artery giving its branch. This is called as the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery, as well as the middle cardiac vein, So these are the two structures will be there. And the anastomosis of the interventricular branch of both the coronary artery. Now this posterior interventricular branch anastomosis with the anterior interventricular branch, as we have seen, and this is the anterior ventricular branch. So this is the anterior ventricular branch going down, okay, in the notch, and anastomosis with the posterior interventricular branch. So there is anastomosis between the right coronary artery as well as the left coronary artery, because the anterior is from the left coronary artery and the posterior is from the right coronary artery. So there is anastomosis between the both the coronary arteries. This is anastomosis again is very important clinically, because if there are any blocks, we should know where are the anastomosis and how it can be compensated. Coming to the relations, again, it is covered. Diaphragmatic surface is also covered by pericardium. The central tendon and of the diaphragm will be below, as well as the cardiac impression of the liver and the fundus. Below the diaphragm will be the liver and the fundus. Now coming to the left surface, it is directed upwards, backwards, and to the left, formed mainly by the left ventricle and partly by the left atrium. So here you can see this is the left border. Going back to this picture, here is the left border, mainly formed by the left ventricle as well as part of the left atrium. If you can see here, this is the left ventricle. It is going all the way and form mainly the left border and partly by the left auricle of the left atrium. This is the auricle, again the ear of the left atrium. Okay. Now some of the important points after all this discussion, some important points which you should remember. One is, as I said, the apex is formed by the left ventricle. So here is the left ventricle and the apex of the heart is here. So the apex of the heart is formed by the left ventricle. Second is the base is formed by the two atria, as we have already seen, the two atria which are behind. The right border is formed by the right atrium. This is the right border. It is formed by the right atrium. The diaphragmatic surface is formed by the two ventricles. As we have seen, the diaphragmatic surface which is below is formed by the two ventricles. Now coming to the 2/3 and 1/3 feature of the heart. In the heart, we can divide it into 2/3 and 1/3 everywhere. Okay. One is the base. Base, as we have already seen, which is behind, will be formed by the 2/3 by the left atrium and 1/3 by the right atrium. The diaphragmatic surface, which is below, is formed by the 2/3 by the left ventricle and 1/3 by the right ventricle. Then in the front is the sternocostal surface. This is the sternocostal surface, 2/3 by the right ventricle and 1/3 by the left ventricle. And then the entire heart is 2/3 on the towards the left side, and 1/3 is only 1/3 is toward the right side from the midline. Okay, so these are the features of 2/3 and 1/3 of the heart. Now coming to some of the important external features which you can see apart from all this what we have discussed till now. Okay, so what are some of the features which you can see in the right atrium? Okay, now coming to the right atrium. So this is the quadrilateral shape structure. This is the right atrium, and it is behind and to the right of the right ventricle. As you can see, this is the right ventricle. So behind the right ventricle and to the right is the right atrium, and it is separated, as we already seen, by the atrioventricular groove. Atrioventricular groove which gives passage to the right coronary artery. Okay, then it forms the entire right border. So as we have seen, it forms the right atrium, will form the entire right border, as well as the 1/3 of the base behind base, 1/3 of the base of the heart, and part of the sternocostal surface. This is the front surface, sternocostal surface. It will be partly in the contributing in the formation of the sternocostal surface. Now, seeing the beginning and the end, as we already discussed, the beginning, it extends from the right atrium, extends from the superior vena cava, orifice of the superior vena cava to the orifice of the inferior vena cava. Orifice means opening of the superior vena cava as well as the opening of the inferior vena cava into the right atrium. So the opening of the superior, the vena cava, orifice of the superior vena cava, it will be at the level of third right costal cartilage, and the opening of the inferior vena cava will be at the right sixth costal cartilage. So this will be the extent of the right atrium. Now coming to some of the external features. One is the auricle. As I said, this is an ear-like structure, which is an ear-like hollow conical muscular projection from the anterior superior part. So this is an extension from the right atrium in the anterior superior part. Okay, so this is called as the auricle. Extends upwards to the left towards the ascending aorta. As you can see here, it is overlapping the ascending. This is the ascending aorta and the arch of aorta. So it is extending up to the ascending aorta. This is ear-like projection. This is called as the right auricle. Similarly, we can also see the left auricle of the left atrium. Apart from that, there is a very important sulcus, which is called as the sulcus terminalis. There is a sulcus here called a sulcus terminalis. A shallow vertical groove along the right border extends between the orifice of the superior and inferior vena cava. It extends all the way from the superior vena cava up to the inferior vena cava. This is called as the sulcus terminalis. Two important structures you can see. One is the auricle and the second is the sulcus terminalis. This sulcus terminalis, if you see from inside, this is the cut heart. If you see from inside, this form the crista terminalis, very important structure which can be seen from inside. Here it is depression, so it is called a sulcus. So from inside it will be elevated, so it is called as crista terminalis. So the names are very similar. This is sulcus terminalis, this is crista terminalis. Both are same. So sulcus terminalis can be seen from outside, crista terminalis can be seen from inside. Okay. So these are two features. Now going to the right ventricle. Okay. So it is situated in the front and left of the right atrium, as we have already seen. It is to the left of the right atrium. The right atrium, to the left is the right ventricle. Forms 2/3 of the sternocostal surface. As we see that it is mainly forming the sternocostal surface. Most of the inferior border is also formed by the right ventricle, and 1/3 of the diaphragmatic surface. Inferior surface of the diaphragmatic surface, 1/3. If you see the cavity of this right ventricle, it is semi-lunar, half moon-like. This is just like this, half moon-like. That is called a semi-lunar. And that of the left ventricle is circular. The left ventricle will be circular and it will pushing its border into the right ventricle. So that's why it is semi-lunar. Because of the musculature which is being 1:3, the thickness of the ventricle of the right ventricle is 1 time compared to the left ventricle, which is 3 times thicker than the right ventricle. So the thickest of the walls will be for the left ventricle, because it has to pump the blood to all the parts of the body. So the right ventricle will be thinner compared to the left ventricle, just 1 times compared to the left ventricle, which is 3 times. And it presents 3 surfaces, as we saw. One is the sternocostal surface, then we have the inferior surface, as well as even the posterior surface. Now coming to the left atrium. So here is the left atrium. See, it is better to be seen from behind. This is the left atrium, and only a small projection can be seen from the front. This is the left auricle. Okay, situated behind and to the left of the right atrium. So it is situated behind, which form the base, and it is toward the left of the right atrium. And how can you identify this left atrium? By the 4 pulmonary veins opening into it, 2 right and 2 left pulmonary veins. If you can see here, these are the 2 left pulmonary veins, these are the 2 right pulmonary veins. 4 veins opening into a single chamber. This should be the left atrium. This is how you can easily identify. If any 4 veins opening into any chamber, then it should be the left atrium. Then, as we know, it forms the 2/3 of the base of the heart. The base is behind and this forms 2/3 of the base. Then the anterior superior conical projection, which can be called as the left auricle. As you can see here, anterior superiorly, we can see a conical projection. This is the ear of the left atrium. This is called as the left auricle. Just like we had here the right auricle, here we have the left auricle. Now coming to the left ventricle. The most important among all this will be the left ventricle, because this will pump the blood to all the parts of the body. So it is conical in shape. So if you can see it, looks like a cone. And as I said, because it has to pump the blood to all the parts of the body, the musculature, the thickness of the wall of this ventricles will be 3 times thicker than the right ventricle. As we discussed before, the right ventricle is thinner wall compared to the left ventricle. It will be very thick wall. As you can see here, the cut wall, it will be very thick, almost 3 times compared to the right ventricle, because as I said, it has to pump the blood against all the parts of the body and against gravity. So this left ventricle also form the apex of the heart. The apex of the heart is formed by the left ventricle. How it is important, I have told you. 1/3 of the sternocostal surface. The sternocostal surface is in the front, so it will form the 1/3 of the sternocostal surface. Most of the left surface, as you can say, this is the left surface. This is the right surface, left border or the right border, and this is the left border, as well as the left surface which is behind that, as well as 2/3 of the inferior surface. 2/3 of the inferior surface of the diaphragmatic surface is formed by the left ventricle. So this is all about the external features of the heart. So if you have any doubts regarding this, you can ask me. The blood supply and the coronary circulation will discuss in a separate class lecture. Okay, so the blood supply will be given in a separate class. So it is not in here. So we'll have a separate class for the coronary circulation or the blood supply of the heart. So if you have any questions regarding this, you can ask me now. Any questions?
No, thanks.
Everything is clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me wait just a minute. Let me take your attendance and then we can